It is I, Louis Lafitte, the Pirate King, the fiercest pirate to ever sail the Spanish Main. I've stolen more ships, plundered more gold, and raided more ports than any man alive. I take no orders, give no quarter, and the ladies think me quite splendid indeed. As the most feared captain to sail the 7 seas, I've done, seen, and tasted everything this world has to offer, as well as some things not of this world. Which is why I'm here today to tell you the tale of the night I danced with Dem Bones. It all started when Mr. Colt, me scurvy dog of a first mate, raised a mutiny against me. I was so proud of him, because that's how I first became a captain, you know. Well, he sets me adrift in a dinghy with but a pistol, a single shot, me cutlass, and a jug of rum. However, the bilge rat stole me pocket watch, which brings a tear to me eye, as it was a fine example of pirating, which again reflects well on me teachings. I drifted alone on the seas with only me rum for comfort, until near sunset, when there, on the near horizon, I spots a spit of land, and turns me vessel to meet it. It tweren't no more than a mile long, dotted with palm trees and colorful birds, raising a racket like the end of the world. They was a great bother, and seeing no other use for me lone pistol ball, I fired it into the air, raising the birds to flight, mixing with all the colors in the sky as the sun began to touch the waters to the west. There I sat, all marooned on the beach, with the warm waters playing with me bare feet as I finished me jug, and trying to determine where I might be. I watched the sun sizzle as she finally dips below the watery horizon, and moments later was when I saw her. At first, she appeared to be nothing but a large shadow moving across the surface. But as she got closer, it became clear that it were a ship. But no ordinary ship she was, for she was indeed made of nothing but shadow. As she grew closer, the waters took on a chill that were followed by a cold breeze, sending a shiver down me timbers. She were a right beautiful ship she was, all black and shimmering in the new moonlight. Then she anchors just off the beach, about 100 yards from where I sits. And then she lowers 3 boats off her starboard side. It was then that the chill took a hold of me in earnest, as I watches her crew boarding those boats. For they weren't men, not least as we know them. They were a crew of skeletons whose bones glowed in the night. As they rowed closer, me eyes began to believe each boat held a dozen skeleton men, wearing tattered coats with cocked hats and leather belts a-holding pistols and cutlasses that would be the envy of any pirate. And at the head of the lead boat was a glowing visage that defied me senses. It was the biggest pirate I'd ever seen, wearing a captain's coat with a skeleton parrot perched right on his shoulder, wearing a tiny little eye patch and a tri-cornered hat. That giant glowing skeleton points his cutlass right at me, barking orders that was drowned out by the surf. With that, all them boats turned themselves towards me, moving with a speed to impress any sailor. As they steps ashore, they begins to haul out some casks and a half-dozen chests brimming with gold and jewels like I never seen before. Then they turns and begins to march me way. I froze looking at them wicked grins that only a bear's skull can make. Then I go cold when I looks into them fiery sockets without eyes. But I am Louis Lafitte, king of the pirates, and I stood me ground. With cutlass in hand, I watches them march right past me, as if it weren't there at all, moving quickly until they reaches the tree line where they sets those chests down. With that, they all turn to stare at that cranking of a man, a skeleton, and he just nods a bit, making them all turn to one the other glowing fellas. Well, he opens up one of the chests, and laying there on top that pile of gold doubloons is a fiery red fiddle. He grabs it with a bony hand and begins a playing it like he's the devil himself. With that, the casks are broken open, whiskey is poured, while the rest of them glowing demons begin to dance and sing loud as thunder. After watching for a bit, and with nothing else to do, I decides to fill my own tankard and see what happens. By the time we're on the last keg, everyone was exhausted, laying in the sand, telling sea stories whilst we handled the treasure. They was throwing around gems that was worth a castle like they was children's tops. We drank and cheered and laughed at stories of the greatest pirate conquest that ever was, being told by those that were actually there. After each story, they would cheer and toss jewels and coins as tribute. I had so many jewels round me neck, I thought it must have been carnival in heaven. The stories had no end, but the whiskey and the night sure did, and the skies gave that last deep blanket of darkness before the dawn. They packs their chests, launches their boats, and had their shadowy sails pointed toward the retreating night. I awoke the next afternoon with a mouthful of sand and the sun clawing at me eyes. Fortunately, another ship comes and rescues me. It's taken me near right a week, but I now am captain of this vessel, and we're on the hunt for that Mr. Colt, as I would like me pocket watch back. After that, we'll search for those black sails and them bones. There has to be a way to win that treasure.
This podcast is brought to you by ConfettiPark.com.